Hey everybody, it's me again, and here I am with my brother-in-law, Darwin. So I'm gonna be interviewing him and try to get the story out of him. Anyway, Darwin, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Are we going to talk about the bank robbery?
Yes, we can if you want.
No, I'd rather not. I just didn't want you to make me talk about it.
I don't want the police looking for you now.
I know. I came all the way to the Philippines to avoid it.
So you're basically hiding from the law, or you're a bandit then?
Well, like half the population of expats here. Yeah, we all are. We're all running from something, aren't we?
Okay, Darwin, my first question is, how old are you?
Oh, shit. 65?
65. Okay, that's a good year. 65.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
California.
What part of California?
Blythe, California, Southern California, right on the edge of Arizona, California.
Okay, so did you spend your childhood there?
No, not really. I was kind of Los Angeles area, San Francisco area.
Oh, okay. So you're a city boy then? You grew up in the city?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Stockton, California,
Okay.
and it was
Do you remember the name of the school?
Stag High.
Stag High.
Yeah.
Is that North Stockton or South Stockton?
It's actually the middle.
Middle. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's close to Pacific University then?
University of Pacific, kinda. Yeah, not far.
Okay.
Not that far.
Okay. I kind of know Stockton because I have a daughter over there. You
Yeah.
probably know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, after high school, did you go to, where did you go? Did you do higher education?
Yeah, I did a degree in humanities, and then I went to Bible college in Arizona and lived with Native American people, with Apache and Navajo mainly, but there were a lot of tribes there. And I did 2 undergraduate degrees, one in education and the other one in theology.
Okay, so you took theology, so that's kind of like religion, right?
Yeah, I was kind of heading in that direction. I wasn't allowed to have a religion before I was 18.
Okay.
So when I turned 18, I just kind of jumped into Christianity with both feet.
Okay.
And then I didn't get out of it until I was in my 30s.
Okay, that's weird because I might be wrong, okay, but I was told that you were Jewish in your
Well,
your family's.
yeah, I practiced Judaism, but my family isn't Jewish.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of got into studying Jewish literature when I was in Bible college, and then when I got out, I kind of moved away from Christianity and leaned more towards Judaism. And so I celebrated the holidays and spent time with my Jewish friends and the Jewish community and that. So.
Okay, and
But I wasn't born Jewish. I wasn't born in a Jewish family.
Okay, so I was wrong then. I just assumed that was
No,
you were.
it's okay.
Jewish. Okay.
Well, I read Hebrew, and I've celebrated the holidays, and I enjoy the Jewish community. But from my life myself, I wasn't raised Jewish in a Jewish household, and my mother was agnostic, and my stepfather was an atheist.
Okay.
So I was denied religion until I got older.
Okay. So
They named me Darwin as a slap in the face to her sisters that kept trying to get her to convert to Christianity.
Wow, see, I learned something new now. It's your name after Darwin, Charles Darwin.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom did it to piss her sisters off.
Oh, okay, okay. And so you grew up as a non-believer and then you went to school and you wanted to you want to be I guess a pastor, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, and then
I would have been happy with that at the time.
180-degree turn.
Yeah.
And so what made it change? What?
Oh, I invited Satan into my life. No, I'm just joking. No, not that. I got to the place, there's this kind of theology called redaction criticism, and I'd been studying it, and you look at what is an essential belief to be a Christian. Is it that Jesus saved you? Does Jesus have to rise from the grave for it to be literal or real? So I looked at it all and I felt like none of it was really important to me. I didn't think that at some point there was a heaven or a hell. And I'd never seen anybody raised from the dead, and I never had any real evidence that anybody ever did. So I just kind of like, my rational mind took over, and I was kind of raised that way, so it was kind of, it kicked back in.
Right.
There was some moral things too. Like when I was in Bible college, everybody was super against abortion, and I just felt like Christians shouldn't be forcing their religion into legislating it as politically within the community of unbelievers. They should be trying to demonstrate a Christ-like nature and bring people to Christ, rather than trying to tell them how to live their lives and make them live their lives a certain way by certain laws. So I argued that and was rejected pretty roundly by most of them. So so that was part of it. And there were a lot of other moral things. I felt gay people had a right to get married. Why should it matter to a Christian what gay people do? I don't think it should. And there were a lot of things. War, they were all like, oh, let's just get into Iraq and do everything. And I was like, why should we be killing people in another land? It's like the thing right now with Israel and Palestine, and it's just a lot of religious and ethnic strife, and I just didn't feel that was a good thing. So morally, I began to move away from Christianity. Their moral compass was different from mine, so that was really the main thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do respect you for that.
Yeah.
I've interviewed Christians. I don't know, you've probably seen it. And
No, I would have rejected it. I'm just joking.
And no, my brother-in-law is an atheist, which I respect. So which is good. Okay, the other thing since I've known you, you're very vocal politically.
Yeah.
And you're leaning towards the left more.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Do you get a lot of flack from that, from your family or friends, or?
Yeah, my younger brother is very right wing. Okay. He is a year younger than me. We were raised as little hippies, and then I went to college, and I ended up studying psychology and got my graduate degree and did that. But my brother, he took another path, and he went into the military. And he was in it for many years, so it really changed him a lot. And he became very right-wing, very gung-ho, jingoistic, pro-American, nationalistic, my country right or wrong kind of thing. And we argued about it a lot. Now that things are coming out about Trump and things, he's denying it. He's denying, it's like a lot of people, they're denying they ever voted for him and that kind of thing. But he's had to deny it and, come back around. So, yeah, I mean, we fought a lot actually from 2015 through probably 2018 or 20, but now we're getting along really well, and he's really making an effort to try to get along. He was really kind of angry about it, and he's become a really hardcore born again Christian too. His wife's Korean, and they go to a Korean church. His daughter's a lawyer, and he's very different from me. I think the same moral compass we have inside of us, it's just that he's caught up in this rhetoric. And when we talk about things, we a lot of times come around to the same conclusions, but we come from different angles. So, but and I love my brother. It's just it's very tough to talk about. It's made holidays very tough. Even during the Gulf War, actually, he was so hardcore into Bush and supporting Bush, and bombing Iraq and all of that, and you know,
And turned out there was no
yeah, it
weapons of
was,
mass destruction.
and it turned out there was no weapon of mass destruction. They still wanted to do it, just like what Israel did. Instead of going after Hamas, they went after the Palestinian people. Instead of the U.S. going after the Saudis, who most of the terrorists at 9/11 were Saudi, we went after the Iraqi, and which was bullshit. You know, it was just they had planned to do it all along. They had written papers about it. Bush's people had, you know. But anyway, you know, and God, I look back at Bush and go like, God, I wish he was back again. You know, like Trump is so fucking bad. Bush is like, oh my God. You know, he was like, I thought he was the devil, and now I think he's just like a regular guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
By comparison, right?
Right. And Bush's faction of the Republican Party is actually against Trump.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wonder how your brother felt about that. You know, that there's a big faction of the Republican.
You know, he was part of the whole thing getting hijacked. I mean, the thing that people don't realize is that authoritarianism is very attractive to people. People want to be able to say, that's a strong man. I want him to take care of this for me, and I don't want to think about it. And then they just vote for him and sign it over to him. And they don't care how he does it. You know, like Trump came into office and started signing all these things as though he had the authority just to do whatever he wanted, carte blanche. But he didn't. He just made all these presidential statements and in writing that were meaningless because he had no power in Congress to do them, to carry them out. And it's kind of like they want somebody that's going to have the authority to just do whatever they want and just trust in that guy. And that's how it was with Hitler and Mussolini and Franco and Erdogan and all those people. It's, you know, people just get behind it and just want to give over their will to that group.
Yes.
You know,
if you think about it, 90% of the Germans supported Hitler.
They did, and really, when you think about the Holocaust, you know, remembering that it was 6 million Jews is not as important as thinking about how the German people came to accept Hitler and his views. And that slippery slope that just started with him being a vocal demagogue politician into him being accepted by all these people. And then eventually those people agreeing that the Holocaust was a good thing and agreeing to it. And, you know, how does that happen? That should be a bigger question. That should be the question we should think about, because because of what we're seeing in Palestine with Israel bombing the shit out of Palestinians. There's, you know, 15% of the population is Hamas and the rest of the people, but 85% of the population is homeless now because Israel has been bombing the hell out of them. And, you know, we need to be asking ourselves, how does the country slip into authoritarianism and begin to commit these war crimes, and how do they begin to make them palatable for the people? But yeah, I mean, those things are important to me, and I think about those things.
And especially this year, 2024 is election year.
Yeah.
And Trump again is running.
Yeah.
So are you going to be doing all you can to make sure?
Yeah, yeah. Are you kidding? I am sending out fiery Facebook messages. That shouldn't matter at all. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm in the Philippines, so it's not like I can go and be part of any demonstrations, but I'll vote. And I'll vote against him, and I don't care. I would vote for a bag of doorknobs before I'd vote for Trump. I mean, that guy is, you know, already said that he wants to throw out the Constitution. There's things in the Constitution he just doesn't agree with, and he just would sooner see them gone. And, you know, he doesn't want any checks or balances, and yeah, to hell with that guy. He needs to be stopped. But I think he's having his money. The courts are coming after his money in the next few weeks, so I think it's going to really affect his election, his campaign. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Livelihood. how did you? What kind of work were you in when you were in?
I was a mental health specialist and a vocational counselor and forensic mental health counselor. So I worked with people with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and I worked with them when they got out of the hospitals or out of jails, and helped them get situated in the community and get services in the community, or go back into the through the court system back into the hospitals or jails. So I did my master's degree in psychology, and I did 30 years as a mental health counselor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and this question basically is family question. How did
Okay.
you meet my sister, Mitos?
We met online.
Okay.
I just got divorced and she just got divorced, and we went on a date, and I took her to see a concert in Oakland, and we saw Les Nubians, this kind of a African jazz band, and we kissed, and then we just stayed in contact through the internet, through our telephones, and we didn't really start dating for another 5 years, but we stayed friends. I don't think I think we both knew neither of us were really ready for a relationship, and so we had to go through some stuff before we got back together, but we finally did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad.
Great. Yeah.
We're living. She prompted me to retire early and move to the Philippines,
Okay.
and I'm so glad she did. I was really burned out, and I really needed to get out of the career that I was in, and I really needed to focus on the things that I loved, and that was, that has allowed me to do that. Retiring to the Philippines has allowed me to do that.
How long have you lived in the Philippines now?
5 katuig.
5 katuig. Wow,
Yeah,
5 years.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. No, actually, going on 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, actually 6.5.
And
Yeah.
so far, how do you like it?
I like it. I've lived here long enough to bitch about the traffic and the motorcycles and the loud karaoke, but if those are the biggest problems I have, I should be happy. Those are,
Right.
not that big a deal,
Yes.
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 And I've never had the financial freedom that I have right now,
Okay.
which I've always had to really watch my every nickel,
Yes.
And in the Philippines, retiring here has allowed me to be able to not worry so much about finances.
Yes. And
So-
that's the big finance is one of the biggest.
It's a big stressor.
Yeah.
There's other stressors, but that's a really big one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
If you're worried about those kinds of things, it's like, oh my God, it's tough. But yeah, being a mental health counselor is always, it's not super high paying. I had a government job, but it wasn't super high paying. So yeah, was a good option for me.
Okay. And you have lived in Cebu and Walbual, and now you're in Valencia.
Yeah, I lived in actually Cebu, Mabual, Dumaguete, and then Valencia. So yeah, but we kind of have lived in beach communities, and right now we live on the side of this like little volcanic mountain that it's got sulfur coming out the side of it and stuff. But it's really nice. It's like a little jungle, and I found a giant iguana in the yard the other day, bright green, just 20 feet from where I'm sitting right now, and it was just amazing. And there's a lot of really beautiful things about the Philippines. It's it's a really beautiful place, and the people are really warm and friendly, and there's a lot of expats here, so I have friends from all over the world, and I like that too.
Okay.
And this is a college town. Like Dumaguete is a college town, so we have friends that are professors and writers and musicians and artists, and so it's really great. It's a great community, and it's a great place to live.
I'm glad you mentioned artists because ever since I know you, I've known you as an artist.
Yeah.
You play the guitar, you love music, and I know you paint.
Yeah.
And how did that start? When
Well,
You
my
always
my
art?
mom was an artist, so I had really good art. I had the best art supplies in the neighborhood when I was a kid,
Okay.
and so I got to try out a lot of different things when I was little. And then when I got into high school, I had already been drawing and painting, and then when I got into college, I took a lot of art and music classes and studied it, and I did shows and that kind of thing. I had an art studio for 20 years. But lately, I haven't painted in a year and a half. I've been writing, just writing. So
Okay. And what about the guitar? We just got done jamming
yeah, yeah.
for over an hour. So
I
how did that start? Where did you pick the guitar up? And,
well, my older brother had a guitar,
okay.
and he kind of he started to take lessons, and then it kind of faded. And when I was 14 or 13, really, I picked up the guitar and I taught myself chords, and then I got a couple of music books and started teaching myself. So that was when I was 13, and I'm 65 now. So I've been playing since then.
Wow.
Yeah, and I should be great. I should be awesome by now.
No, you are. Yes, you are.
Not
I mean,
really. Not,
it's
not
a lifelong.
so much.
It's a lifelong.
It is.
Journey, you know,
Yeah,
playing
and it's a
guitar.
joy.
Yeah,
It's
so-
playing guitar is a joy, and singing is a joy, and anything creative, anything you do creatively, is really really good for you and important, and it brings meaning to your life. And you know, people more and more find out that they can't find meaning in their life through a career, or even in some cases family, but you can find meaning in life through creative things, and they give you purpose, and that's really important. You know, I tell everybody, you know, when they're depressed or they're stressed out, like, do something creative, you know, or you know, I tell people exercise, but I tell them do something creative, you know. Pick up a hobby, do something that's fun, write a poem, do something, you know, I mean, it's, those kinds of things are really liberating, and they can't take that away from you. They can take your house away and your car away, but they can't take away something you've done creatively. That's still inside you always.
Right.
So,
Yes, when I started doing videos, I started as a hobby.
Yeah.
Basically, because I'm retired, and gave me a chance to do something. I got so much time in my hand, and you know, if you're in the U.S., you don't even know the neighbors over there. You know, I mean,
yeah, it's weird.
It's very isolated.
Yeah.
You feel like you're by yourself. All
Yeah,
the
you're
time.
insulated by by design. The communities are insulated, and you have to find a way to get together with people, and you have to find things that bring you meaning and purpose. You know, and I'm glad you're doing it. You know,
Yes. Well,
it's a good
I have
thing.
a purpose now.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to get
Well,
everybody
and you're
started.
playing guitar, and you're traveling, and you're doing things that interest you, and that spark your enthusiasm and your creativity, and that's important. You know, that's what keeps you alive. Like, so many people I know retired when they were 65, and they died
away.
with just like within a couple of years they were dead. And you just went like, wow, it's like the only thing keeping them alive was that job.
Yes.
And that's really, really messed up.
Yeah, can you imagine? You were put in this earth to just work there.
Yeah.
And then when you retire, you
Yeah,
die.
you've worn out, your usefulness is no longer important. You have no more usefulness. Time to go. Time to check out. I hate that idea. I like the idea that my career was just a vehicle to get me from point A to point B.
Yes.
And I'm still interested in mental health. I'm still interested in psychology, and the law regarding mental health, and the medicine regarding mental health. But and those things will always interest me, and I'd always be sparked by them. But the difficult part of the job, the mundane and the drudgery of the job,
Day-to-day.
the day-to-day stressors of the job were overwhelming, and they no longer was worth it. It was no longer worth the payoff of the fascination with it was no longer enough. And getting out when I did, I got out when I was 55, 10 years ago about, so I retired early. was really, really a smart move on my part, and thank God for my wife getting me. You know, as an atheist, I can say that. Thank God for my wife. Yeah, but she prompted me to get out of it, and I'm so glad I listened to her. You know, it was a really good thing. I have good friends. I have interests, things I love. I have goals
And
in
you
my
do
life.
gigs here, right?
Yeah, I do some gigs, and I've been writing music with a friend of mine, and so and my wife and I are writing a book together, and I'm writing a book on my own. So we're just involved in things that we love, you know,
Okay.
and it's important thing to be able to have the opportunity to be able to do that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people, it's a sacrifice. I remember getting off work after working 8 hours in a really stressful situation and going home to my art studio and working in my art studio, and it was a sacrifice to do that sometimes, but overall I think it kept me sane. You know, I luckily I was working for the government, so I had a lot of vacation time that I could use, and it accrued, so I could, if I had an art show coming up, I could take a week off and paint and prepare for the show. And a lot of people just don't have that opportunity. They don't have that option. And so I've been pretty lucky, actually. Been pretty fortunate about a lot of things in my
Okay.
life.
I just have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Basically,
True.
the last question is, what would you advise young people right now who's just starting out in life and have years, you know, to go through? You know, I mean, do you have any advice to give them? You know, about life, about religion, about anything, basically.
Yeah. Well, life isn't fair.
Yes.
You know, life is, my mom always told me that, and you know, reincarnation doesn't fix the fact that life is not fair. Eternal judgment at the end of the world is not going to balance the scales. Life is just not fair. So, and you have to accept the fact that there's a certain amount of things that you just can't change in life. And accepting those things and learning to move on is important. Learning to accept your own mistakes and failures is also, and yourself is also really essential. I think it's important to look at the virtues that you cultivate or extol in your life. Like if you think joy or happiness is what you want, you know, those things are really difficult to just seek and get. You kind of walk in the door backwards to get to those things, you know. You become happy because it's a byproduct of finding purpose and meaning in your life. And the, you know, the virtues that people should really look at are understanding and humility and kindness and compassion and honesty. Those are things that are very important for anybody in any walk of life. Those things are just important. And if you know, if you seek for peace or justice or happiness, it's fine to do that, but those are things that are they're kind of a byproduct of, you know, trying to live a life that's good towards other people and towards yourself. And then those things you start to see them around you happening, and you notice when they're not happening. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not the wisest person in the world, so it's hard for me to say, but
you do have wisdom and experience and you know, the age and
yeah, I got
what
the
you said is
age.
right. You said right.
The age part.
Purpose and you know, and the
Yeah.
reason why you're here. If you find that, you know, that you said that's what makes you happy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and you're right. You know,
Yeah.
basically find a passion, a purpose. You know, that
Yeah.
establish that. Last question.
Okay, all right.
Basically, I know you guys are planning a trip to Wyoming
Uh-huh.
this summer, but do you have any plans for the next 5-10 years, or just look back, or what?
Well, I'm going to finish my book.
Okay.
Probably want to do a little bit more painting.
Yes.
I'm doing music with a friend of mine. We're writing some songs, so I'd like to record those eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to travel some more too. There's places I haven't been yet. We got to go to Morocco. That was on my bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got some other places on my bucket list. I'm looking forward to Wyoming because there's some interesting dinosaur finds there. I want to see the geological stuff at the Yellowstone Park and with the geysers and such. But I really want to see dinosaur bones. I'm still like a little kid about that, you know. I find it really fascinating. Paleontology is very interesting, and I have a lot of renewed interest in science these days. So,
Well,
yeah.
and you basically do all those stuff now. So
yeah. I am. I'm studying math now, and I'm reviewing my math that I had learned and working on some higher math, so I can kind of understand some science that I've always loved. So,
Right.
yeah, so those kinds of things. I have goals. They're still there.
Yes.
Keep my driver's license. Don't go blind. You know, those are all good. You know.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, Darwin, thank
All
you
right.
very much. I
My
enjoyed
pleasure.
doing that interview, and thank you for giving us a little bit about your life, you know,
Yeah.
and what you've learned so far.
All right.
Thank you.
If
You're up
they say I'm confused, it's probably true.
Okay, we're
All
done.
right.
Thank
All right.
you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.